In just a few years, the Social Security reserves are expected to be zero. And Social Security is a critical source of income for millions of Americans. And if it collapses, or even if it's reduced, it can have dramatic impact on retirement and on the economy. But there's a lot of doom and gloom out there. Today we're going to answer 3 key questions as it relates to Social Security. First, is Social Security going broke? Second, what if Congress does nothing? And 3, what can you do right now to prepare for the future? So let's address the first question. Is Social Security going broke? Every year, the Social Security trustees publish a comprehensive report showing the long-range outlook on Social Security. Well, what does that say? Let me tell you a little story about how Social Security works. It's designed as a pay-as-you-go system. Payroll taxes come in from current workers, and they go into the trust fund and immediately paid out to current retirees. And because baby boomers have been in their workforce for a long period of time and were in their peak earning years, the trust fund grew. But as baby boomers started retiring, these trust fund assets began to generally draw down. Assume that if the trust fund runs out of money, that their benefits will go to zero. And that is incorrect. Currently, there are enough reserves in the system to pay 100% of benefits to 2035. And after that, if nothing is done to reform the system, income is sufficient to cover just 83% of promised benefits. Now, it's 2025 as we're shooting this video. I did this same presentation a year and a half ago to 250 CPAs at a conference in Columbia, South Carolina. And the Social Security Trust Fund was going to run out of money, not at 2035, but at 2034. And it was going to be able to support 80% of benefits instead of 83% of benefits. So they're already doing some things to fix it. Let me give you an example of what they are. The first thing they're doing is increasing the maximum earnings subject to Social Security tax. In 2025, all income from 0 to $176,100 in earnings is subject to 6.2% tax paid by you and your employer. This is up from $168,600 in 2024. So you can see they're already doing some things to reduce the risk in the system. And you can take a look at this chart and you can see they've been raising Social Security taxes for many, many years. The second thing they can do is raise full retirement age benefits as life expectancies increase. Currently, full retirement age benefits start at 67 years old for people born 1960 or later. The third thing they can do is reduce the speed of cost of living adjustments. So stop worrying about if Social Security is going to be there or not. I know what you're thinking. The government's a bunch of idiots, and if they can't come to an agreement, benefits are going to be cut. Here's an example if benefits are cut. Now, even if benefits are cut, you can see it doesn't make a huge difference on when you should claim benefits. This lady's 62 years old, and she qualifies for $2,000 a month in Social Security benefits. Statistically speaking, because she has a 64% chance of living to age 85, you put more odds in your favor of getting more money if you delay your benefits. Now that you know that Social Security is going to be there and that a cut should make a huge difference in when you should take your Social Security benefits, so what do you need to do to prepare for the future? Build an alternative income stream. And that's obviously what you do with your investments. You've been saving all your life. Have your investments set up to generate income for you during retirement and have margin of safety. What does that mean? That means maybe living off a little bit less income than you might have expected. It also can mean having 1 year's worth of cash instead of 6 months or 3 months. It also could mean maybe delaying retirement 6 months to a year. And it could also mean retiring with training wheels. And what does that mean? So we had one client who was working 50 hours a week and she hated it. And so I asked her, I was like, are you pretty valuable at work? And she's like, yeah. So I said, well, how about try and ask them if you could work part-time? And she went from working 50 hours a week to working 20 hours a month. and her income went from $200,000 a year down to $50,000 a year for only working 20 hours a month. So you're in your peak earning years and you're very, very valuable for the company you work for. Maybe think about going part-time, which is retiring with training wheels. What you might want to consider is maxing out your 401ks. And if you're over 60 years old, in 2025, you can save a little bit more as a turbo catch-up provision. One thing you also might want to consider is after you retire, your tax bracket is likely to drop because your income drops. You can use that time available to convert pre-tax retirement accounts to tax-free Roth IRA accounts. Now, before you go doing any of this stuff, make sure you talk to your CPA or your financial advisor who knows your situation in deep detail. Now we talked about Social Security, not going broke, when to take it, maybe delaying might be making some sense. But if you thought I was bullshitting you, take a look at this next video on reasons why you may want to take your Social Security benefits early.